Hi, I'm Nancy Rathbun from Completely Quilted. Thank you for purchasing our Curve It Up Block of the Month from So Kind of Wonderful. Today we're going to be demonstrating our 12th and final block, which is the block with spinning spools. Today when we are going to make our spool block, this is a scrappy block. So you get an opportunity to use some of your pieces that you've been collecting over the course of the 12 months. So you're going to cut them into smaller segments. I cut mine all 5 inches long and then different widths, so from 1 3/4, 1 1/2, just kind of what you have, and square those up. And then I've sewn mine into strip sets. They can be longer strip sets, they can be shorter. These pieces need to be 5 inches, so that's why we've got 5-inch strips, and they need to be cut by 6, so 5 by 6. So an easy way to accomplish that is to go ahead and just kind of measure the sets that you've gotten sewn together. This one here, if I cut it, I would have a real small piece. So I'm just going to make sure that all of my segments are at least finished an inch, so that I don't have any really small pieces. So there's a finished set now that's 5 inches by 6 inches, and I'm going to keep cutting these. I'll need a total of 8 for my spool blocks. So after you have your 6 by 5 inch strip set segments cut, then each of those are going to get one of our spool top and bottom pieces sewn to each end. So this segment now should measure 9.5 inches long by 5 inches wide. So these pieces are now going to get cut with our Curve It Up ruler. So to cut our curve on this block, we want to make sure and line up the 2.5 inch vertical line with the edge of our block. And then we're going to make sure it's centered between the 1 1/4 and 10 3/4 inch mark. And this is the curve that we're going to cut. And so here's one of our spools that we've cut the curve on both sides. So we also have our background fabric strips cut, and those are going to be cut in a curve to be sewn onto either end of our spool block. So you're going to line up your 1 inch line and then go ahead and center it between your 1 1/2 and 10 1/2. And we're going to cut. And this is excess. So what we have now is our curve in and curve out. That's going to get sewn together to create our spool block. Now you're ready to sew your trimmed spool blocks with your background pieces. So when you line these up, you're going to keep the edge of the background piece right even with the point on the spool block. I'm going to slowly stitch these with a 1/4 inch seam, and I just guide these two pieces independently so that I can slowly bring them back together, sometimes dropping my needle and lifting up my pressure foot temporarily, just so that I get a nice even stitch without dragging those and stretching them as I sew. So this stopping and placement of the fabrics is going to help keep any of stretching and puckering happen when you're sewing curves. And I just make those even, and sew all the way off the edge. So now what you have is your background fabric sewn along that edge, and we're going to do this to all of our spool pieces, and then we'll square them up. So now we're ready to square up our spool block. And this is going to be squared up to 4 1/2 by 8 1/2. And so where you're going to be looking on your ruler are the points where this curve meets the background. So we want that 4 1/2 mark on the top part of our ruler here, that 4 1/2 to match up with that intersection. Same with the very corner of our ruler here. Then down here at the bottom, we want that 8 1/2 mark along with the 4 1/2 mark here to be lined up as well. So once those are all lined up, you can make your first cuts. And then we can rotate our block and do the same thing. 4.5 by 8.5. And now we've got our squared out block. So we're going to square up all of our blocks and then we'll sew them together to create our 12th block of the Curve It Up So Kind of Wonderful Block of the Month. Hi, I'm Nancy Rathbun from Completely Quilted. Thank you for watching our demonstration on the 12th month of the So Kind of Wonderful Curve It Up Block of the Month. Next month we will be doing our sashings and borders, and you will be receiving your finishing kits.